All right, the gang is here. Let's get rolling. Broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Cleveland. It's station WDWL TV, the home of 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and oh, Jesus. Your host, me, the grumpy old man, and we are, unfortunately, brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. No bow, thank you. See you, bye. Holy shit. Took me a goddamn hour to dig the car out. Goddamn snow drifted around it. I hate this shit. Then, you know, my wonderful neighbor across the street, his driveway was spotless. The sidewalk, spotless. The apron, spotless. You'd think the asshole would at least clear my apron so, because the goddamn snow plows, they... And then the shit's compacted like cement. No. So, I attempted, which I knew was going to be futile, to get a snowplow. I think like April 3rd was the guy quoted me. Oh, yeah, I called every snow plowing company on the west side. Nope. Matter of fact, when I finally got out of the driveway, which was not fun, my neighbors think I'm nuts. Because basically, I pull forward about 3 feet, and then I back up. And then I pull forward 5 feet, and then I back up. And then I pull forward 7 feet, and I back up. And I keep doing this down the driveway. Making tracks. And then finally, I get to the goddamn apron that's compacted like concrete. And it was 1 foot back, 1.5 foot back, 2 feet back. Then finally, I backed up halfway up the driveway and right through it. And I'm sure I pissed my neighbor off because all that hard compacted snow went straight across the street into his apron. But I got out of the driveway. Okay, Ron gave us the bowling update. I really wasn't going to say anything to him. But I think I'm going to go over and tell him the couple of weeks I've had with the, the toe amputation, and then this goddamn body problem. And I'm just going to say, I'm fucking 75 years old. I didn't want you to do it for free. I mean, had I caught him while he was plowing, I'd have told him, name your price. Name your fucking price to come over and at least clear my apron. You don't have to do the driveway, the sidewalk. I'll make my tracks up and down the drive. Because I'll tell you what, if he'd have told me, well, I want $75, I'd have stuck it in his mouth and said, here, do it now. Then I'd have got, well, I got to take it, I got heart problems. Gee, your heart problems don't bother you when you, now get this. After he snow blows everything, he comes out with his leaf blower. That's how clean his driveway and sidewalk are. He's got, well, I'll tell you what, I'd love to have that Toro leaf blower he's got. I think it's a jet engine. Yeah, when he gets done with the snow thrower, then he comes out. I was really tempted to park in his fucking driveway. I really was. I put my car, I was going to say, Ron, Rob, I was able to get out, but I can't get back in. And we're not allowed to park on the street. And since your driveway is so clean, I guess I'll have to put my car here. Then he'd be like, well, where am I going to put mine? Well, after you clean my driveway, I'll put mine over there, and you can put yours where it belongs. All summer long, if my fucking grass grows a millimeter, he's over here. Come snow time, he's got this big gun. It looks like a snow thrower that could clean the airport. You think he would at least do the apron knowing how compacted all that snow is? Nope. He gets done, he looks across the street and goes, oh man, Grumpy's fucked over there. Oh, let's put the snowblower in the garage. Man, Grumpy's still fucked over there. Put the blower back. Oh, I'm really tempted. Come spring, when he comes over here and cuts the lawn for the first time, I'm really tempted to tell Rob, don't fucking bother. Don't bother cutting my grass. And he'd be like, well, just trying to help you out. You can fucking help me out in the winter. I don't need help in the summer. I need help in the winter. And that's when you screw me. I really now understand why he only had one friend next door. And I don't know, well, Jim bought him the lawnmower because Jim didn't want to cut his own grass, Same thing when Jim was alive, Rob didn't like that Jim would only cut his grass once a month. So he would go across his lawn over Jim's driveway, and that's the way he would go, back and forth and back and forth. And then, here we go, Mr. I'm a retired police detective, leaves his lawnmower on the sidewalk to go in the house to take a leak. And then he comes out and it was gone. What asshole is... What? I'm surprised he didn't hang a sign on it saying, steal me. Well, Jim didn't want to cut his grass. So he bought Rob that big Ultra DeWalt, and basically when his mower got stolen, he literally told Jim, "Well, I can't. I'm going to go get a new mower, but I can't be cutting your grass anymore. I just." And then Jim gave him the old 1-2. Hey, come on over and take a look at what's in the back end of my SUV. He opened the back end of the SUV, and Rob was like, wow, you bought yourself a beautiful new lawnmower there, Jim. And Jim went, nope, it's for you. While Jim was thinking, I fucked you. Oh, Christ, there's got to be at least a foot. Now, the drift that come up my driveway was almost over the it was over the wheels of the Passat. All the way, well, the front, the snow went from the driveway over the hood, over the roof. The Passat looked like it was like 30 feet long was the way the snow had drifted. So I got out there. I got the car cleaned off. And I trudged down with a shovel. And I took about, I probably took a foot off the top of what the city had plowed. And I got the really compacted stuff, and I was done. I was about ready to fall on my face. So I said, well, I'm just going to because I was going to make some tracks. I'm not fucking shoveling anymore. I'll be in the emergency room for a month at this rate. So I just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It worked for me. I have two tracks down the driveway right out to the street. And all the rest of the compacted snow that I hit was beautiful. Watching it slide across the street right into Rob's apron. Oh. And there's more on the way. Let's see, we're at 10 degrees. The weather forecast, 10 degrees. And I killed all the weather apps in my phone, so that should kill my data usage now. And today, I had that monitor, that computer going, because our favorite couple out in Big Bear Valley returned and cleaned up the nest. Our favorite couple, Jackie and Shadow, she cleaned up the nest, and over the weekend, she laid her first egg. So I'm on eagle watch now. I'm hoping that she lays at least a second egg, but, it's so sad because with all the shit the Eagles have gone through, there's only a 50-50, chance of a hatch. Now, last year, she laid 3. All 3 hatched. As a matter of fact, all 3 were pretty healthy. And a goddamn snowstorm blew in And somehow chick number 3 wasn't tucked underneath mom enough and froze. But the other two, what the hell did they name them? One of them was Gizmo, I know that. Can't remember what his brother's name was. But it's nice to see this nest, this couple return back to their nest. They've been gone. I'm trying to think when the kids flew the coop. They've been gone at least 6-7 months. But the nice thing about eagles is they're mates for life. So it's nice to see those two return. Anybody that wants to, it's Friends of Big Bear Valley. But I think if you type in FOBBV in the search bar, it'll give you the live cam because they run a camera now 24/7. Not that I watch them 24/7, but during the day it's nice to look over and see. And I'll tell you what, she is really taking care of that egg because several times a day she turns it, which they have to, but she has really been taking care of that egg. Oh, shit. Hang on, let me write a note on the back of my note. I keep forgetting to ask Mary Ann. Ask Mary Ann about kitten. Tomorrow I'll have an answer. I wrote a note. Okay. Here's one for you. What is this name? Today when I was at Mark's, this is what was on the girl's name tag. And the name tag maker didn't go haywire. How would you pronounce this? I thought when my sister had her baby, and I don't know if I think I told this story. While you're thinking about how to pronounce that name, when my sister had her first, she was in a close run. Almost, you got it real close, but she pronounced it Absidy. Absidy. Her parents must have really been fucking lazy. What are we going to name this one? Oh, we'll name her ABCDE. So, both my sister and her roommate, who was black, both had girls. So they bring in my niece, and on the thing it says, female Jacobo, whatever my sister's husband's last name is, whatever. And then they bring in her baby, female, and her last name was Smith. So it said female Smith. And I'm sitting there and I'm kind of admiring my new niece, and I hear the daughter say to her parents, "Look, isn't this hospital wonderful? They named a baby for me." I'm like, what? And the mother looks at the bassinet and goes, "Oh, they did. Isn't that nice?" Famale. Female. Famale. That's what went on the birth certificate. Famale Smith. I thought finale was bad. Then we get absentee. Holy shit. Does the stupidity ever end? Boy, I'll tell you what. These goddamn kids today are fucking pampered like little pansies. Because the shit that we have out there right now, there'd have been school. Because back in the day, if the principal made it to the school and the teachers made it to the school, school was open. Plain and simple. One of the people at the Cleveland School Board would call everyone there. Yes, they go right down the line calling all the schools. And they say, "Okay, school's open." No, school will probably be closed for a week now. I can remember trudging to school in shit like this. And you better not be late. They wouldn't the snow we had out there today, they wouldn't have closed. No way. I think from kindergarten through high school, I think we maybe only had 5 snow days. From kindergarten through high school, maybe 5. Now, 37 snowflakes fall. Close the school. These kids today don't know how good they had it. And then, you tell them, "Oh, we'd have been walking to school like this." "Oh, we don't want to hear your old war stories." "Oh, yeah, Cleveland snow. It's always so nice and wet." Although it was good snowball snow, man, I can remember if a bread truck went by, all the kids, because a bread truck was a big target. But, oh yeah, half the time the plows, they plowed like around midnight. So you couldn't, it was no saving grace to walk in the street. Oh, yeah, these kids today, you talk about pansy asses. Oh, I forgot to tell you. We're only going to run till 8:00 because I have someone that's going to take me out to dinner. And dinner. You will not believe what is sitting in my refrigerator. A whole pot of good old Jewish beet soup. Oh, man. I'll tell you, there's a couple that my buddy is Roman Catholic like me. I used to be. When a kid, you had to go to church all the time. But I mean, he was an altar boy, the whole 9 yards. And his wife is Jewish. And these two have been married like 40 years, 40 to 44 years, something like that. And this beet soup recipe was her great grandmother's. And she cooked up the whole pot and sent it for me. Because she knows how much I like Jewish food. Matter of fact, when my buddy left, I said, ask her if she's going to make creamed herring. But yeah, oh man. I ate half the pot. Matter of fact, I sent her a text message this morning. I said, I ate half the pot last night. I couldn't stop. And she goes, well, that's what I made it for. And then, P.S., return the pot when it's empty. Now, shit, now I got to wash it. I was just going to throw it away. Yeah, oh man, what a meal. I was in heaven. And you know the interesting thing, he goes to temple with her on Saturday, and then she goes to church with him on Sunday. And they've been doing this since they were engaged. Because, the priest wanted her to convert, and the rabbi wanted him to convert, and they said, no, but we would like both of you to perform the ceremony. So they had a priest and a rabbi, and they did it the Catholic way first and the Jewish way second. And then, oh, what a reception. I still to this day I don't know what the thing is with putting them on a chair. They dance around the room with the bride and the groom on a chair. It was a hell of a reception. Talk about two confused groups of people. You had the Catholics on one side and you had all the Jewish on the other side, and they're like, man, those people are wacky. And then the Jewish people would be like, goddamn Catholics are crazy. It's worked for them. I don't think those two have ever had an argument. Maybe a little disagreement, but never a raised voice. They in the summer, the mall opens like at 7 o'clock for walkers. They have walkers in the mall. People come to walk. And every day during the summer, they go out to Great Northern Mall and they walk hand in hand like two teenagers. I'll tell you, I love the two of them. But boy, what a treat. Man. I even had a little of my Jewish rye bread left because I like to dip it in the soup. Oh, it was delicious. And the interesting thing is his son. They had a son, and his son married a Jewish girl too. So the son carried on the tradition. It's tradition, you know. But oh man, she can cook. Oh God, that woman can cook. Mm-mm-mm. Excuse you, I'm busy. Boots wanted to visit. I threw him out. I was kind of hoping maybe for some gefilte fish on the side, but hey, good old made from scratch great grandma's recipe. I ain't complaining. She even sent the kosher sour cream. I got a little container. They go shop at the kosher market over off Cedar or somewhere. She not only she not only made me the beet soup, she got me the kosher sour cream. Put a little dollop of sour cream in the middle. Mm. So I had a feast last night. I'm surprised my lips aren't purple. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. He told me they were going to be extra strength. Look at the size of that fucking tablet. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to swallow it. Yeah, actually, it surprised me. The delivery company, they were here like around 4:30. Must have been a light delivery day. Because I called this morning, it was around 8:30. And I said to the girl, I think you have a prescription filled for me. She go, oh, yes, we do. I said, can I get that delivered? Yep. Should we charge it to the card on file? Yep. Have a nice day. Thank you. And then I had to go out and get my crinkleberry juice. I've been drinking crinkleberry juice all day. That stuff sure has pucker power, I'll say that. I'm kind of used to it. The first couple of drinks, I was like, oh, I can. Well, did you call and raise hell, Ron? Or are you just sitting there thinking, oh, the pharmacy go through their books and go, oh, we made a boo boo. And there should be no excuse. 3 days? Kind of pharmacy you go to? See, that's why I like hospital pharmacies. They're prompt. They're great. The prices are really decent. Yeah, but now you're all fucked up on your heart medication. I tell you what, Ron, I wouldn't have put up with that. I'd have told him, hey, 3 days I could be fucking dead. Get that medication out here now. And if they don't deliver, tell them I'll be there in an hour to pick it up. Have it ready. It's quite obvious I don't take any bullshit. Matter of fact, I called Spectrum again today just to verify yesterday's conversation. And the changes in the works. I said, well, as soon as it's all finalized, I'm waiting for that confirmation email on my price. And if it don't come back at $50, I got the magic phone number. Matter of fact, the guy I talked to today, he said, well, eventually we like customers to pay the regular price. I said, I'm not arguing that. My argument was I was quoted one price, and when I got the future billing, it was $20 more. And I said that was my fault for not getting it in writing. He said, well, I can't put it in writing yet. It's not final. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll be calling every day until I get that email. And the email better say $50. Because if it doesn't, I'm going to be on the phone to somebody. I don't know what's so goddamn... Well, I know he explained the problem. Because I'm going from one discount program to another. And they usually don't allow customers to do that. And I told him, I said, it's something called customer retention. Because I said, I was ready to leave. It's customer retention. You have to kiss a little customer's ass now and then. Of course, you could tell from the way he was talking, he's not really somebody that should be in customer service. One of these pro-company people. Well, sooner or later, a customer does have to pay the normal price. Oh, you're bucking for a CEO position, I see. So, Grumpy will be calling daily to check up on where my confirmation email is. I'm trying to think the change was stuck in the system. I said stuck in the system. Does it go like down a conveyor belt and the conveyor belt jammed? Or did the air tube lose air and it went back down? I said, we're in 2026. Technology, man. It shouldn't be stuck in the system. Well, it should be unstuck soon. I said, well, just remember one thing. The SIM card will arrive here tomorrow. The SIM card ain't going in the phone until I have it verified in writing. Because there ain't no sense me putting that SIM card in that goddamn telephone only to take it back out again and make an ass out of myself with Consumer Cellular. So just remember that. Well, your choice, sir. Oh, company guy for sure. Almost as bad as the girl in Minneapolis. I felt like asking him, you two related? You engaged, maybe? Trying to think where. Oh, he was in North Carolina. I was kind of hoping for Texas to answer, but you never get the same person twice. It's impossible. Yeah, Randy. Oh, this is Randy in North Carolina. I said, this is Grumpy in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, it's stuck in the system. What, didn't somebody hit send on the computer or what? No, I'm not gonna vanquish on the girl in Texas. I'm just gonna go by what she said. And he told me, he says, oh, I see notes of prices all over the map. I said, well, do you see one for 50 in there? He said, yeah. I said, that's the price. So if it comes in higher, oh boy, Grumpy gets to call Spectrum again. But I get to call Customer Solutions this time. Because I'll just sit here with a SIM card. I don't care. I am not putting the SIM card in that phone until I have verification in writing. I always remember Judge Judy. Get it in writing. And I do. And if somebody won't back what they say with an email, I don't do business with them. I remember the girl from AT&T once telling me, I can't send you an email like that. I said, well, then I guess I can't extend my cell phone service with you anymore. And she didn't care. And I called Consumer Cellular, and that's how it all started. Because they refused to give me a lower rate. They were hitting me for like $75 a month for unlimited talk and text and, I don't know, 2 gigs of data or whatever the fuck it was. And they had an introductory plan for $45. Well, we can't give you that. I said, I'm on month to month. I would be coming back as a new customer. Oh, we don't look at it that way. I said, okay. Hello, consumer. I'd like to start with your service because AT&T don't love me no more. Yep, Kathy, receipts. And I print the stuff, too. You know the file. As a matter of fact, I should probably finally throw that file away with goddamn Square Trade and my TV set. Oh, yeah, good old T-Mobile. We can't give you any more than 300 megabytes, but they're going to be 5G. I can't live with 300 megabytes. I'm still sitting at 500 right now, and luckily there's been no noticeable difference in anything. Spectrum, you didn't hear that. But if whenever it gets unstuck and I open that email and it don't say $50, I'm going to tell them, hey, I got a SIM card in the envelope here waiting to go in a phone. It ain't going in the phone until we come to an agreed price of $50. Then you can have your SIM card back. Matter of fact, that's the way I'm going to start the conversation. How do I return a SIM card? Why do you want to return a SIM card? Because you screw me over on the price of my package here. It's supposed to be 50 and it's 75, you know. Uh-oh. Hold on. The old hold on. And then when I told the guy in North Carolina about the girl in Minneapolis, he said, well, she was only doing her job. Really? A customer says they're going to leave you, and your attitude is, well, take it or leave it, sir. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Thanks for your business. See you, bye. Yeah, she was only doing her job. I said, well, it was amazing when I talked to the girl in Texas. Man, I thought she fell out of her chair. Hold on, hold on, hold on. We're going to work something out. Hold on. And then I get a supervisor on the phone, and the supervisor says, I can do 1 gig, $50 a month, and free cell phone service. You know, it's amazing. The change is stuck in the system, but the SIM card will be here tomorrow. Why didn't the SIM card get stuck in the system with the change? Of course, that's two different divisions, you know, cellular and internet, you know. In my Heineken mug here, well, it's not a mug, it's a drinking receptacle. I love it. This isn't the insulated one. This one is just a regular metal aluminum drinking mug, but I love it. The one for tonight is in the freezer. That's the insulated one. Well, like I say, Kathy, I'm going to tell them that SIM card ain't going in that phone until we come to an agreed price of $50, like I was told many, many, many times. You know, it depends on the state. Some states you can record a phone call and the other party doesn't have to know. Although I'm pretty sure I could have recorded it because they were recording me. They come on, this call could be recorded for training purposes. I think I'm going to start prefacing with, this call will be recorded for Grumpy's purposes. I'm going to have to start doing that. I have to figure out how to do it, though. I know there's a way on a cell phone you can record your conversation. I haven't never had any need for it, really. Oh, hold on. Speaking of cell phone, I'm getting a text message. Oops. Okay, hold on. I have to send a reply here. Let me get the old stylus out. The magic stylus. Send. Dinner's postponed. My buddy got stuck pulling out in the street. He's another one, don't like shoveling, I see. Yeah, he thought he could do like I did. Jump the old snowplow mess. You don't jump it. You slowly. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You don't just go down the driveway. I think that's what he did. Sucks not to have four-wheel drive, huh, buddy? That's all right. I got the rest of my beet soup. And the kosher sour cream. That's all right. I didn't feel like going out anyway. But I never pass up a free meal either. But I got my beet soup. I'm not complaining. And same thing I told them. I'll just have the rest of my leftovers from last night. No big deal. Matter of fact, I think what I'm going to have to do is ask her, I wonder if it would taste the same if you thawed it out. Should be able to freeze it. I'm going to ask her. If you make a pot, can I freeze it? Well, not by the pot, in individual containers. Yeah, but Kathy, in this generation, you can no longer be polite. You have to be a prick. Back in the day, you remember, we were always taught, customer is never wrong. The customer is always right. Nowadays, it's, fuck the customer. Just make sure that the transaction's finished before you say that to the customer. Thank you. It's a completely different world, not like what we grew up in. Oh, I'll tell you what, my grandfather would be turning over in his grave to see the way things are today. I've said before. First of all, the hardware store that he owned with Bernie, there's another, Grandpa Catholic, Bernie was Jewish. Two partners owned a hardware store, 50-50. And the store didn't have an alarm for two reasons. My grandfather didn't think we needed it, and Bernie was too tight with the money to pay for one, so no alarm. And every customer knew over the back door was the key. And they would go in because the hardware store was closed on Sunday. Well, it was closed on Saturday, too. It was closed on the weekend because, Bernie had to go to Temple and my grandfather didn't work Sunday. So the customers knew if they reached over the top of the door, the key was there. They'd go in, get what they needed, write it down, 5 3/16 bolts, 5 3/16 lock washers, 5/16 flat washers, 5/16 nuts. I'll pay you Thursday, Fred. And then they would put the note in the cigar box that was next to the cash register. And then on Monday, Bernie and my grandfather would open the store and they'd pull all the notes out of and then Bernie'd say, okay, well, we got to order, 5/16 bolts. Somebody got a plunger. We have to order a plunger. And then they put the notes back in the cigar box. And then Thursday run along, and in walk Fred. I owe you for them 5/16 bolts, Joe. Pull the note out of the cigar box. Yeah, you do. How much? Yeah. Ring it up, pay him. My grandfather had a paid stamp. Paid. He'd show it to the customer. There you go. And the note went in a cigar box on the shelf behind the cash register. Everything was kept in a goddamn cigar box. Mainly because my grandfather and Bernie both smoke cigars, Got to make use of them boxes. Don't throw them away. And that was their... If you went in the back room upstairs, there were cigar boxes. January, February, March, April, May. And that was the monthly transactions. Everything for the month was in that cigar box. Bills of lading, order forms, paid receipts, Bernie's scribble sheet, his balance sheet, So you say, January 1958, February 1950. The wall was just cigar boxes. That was their filing system. My grandfather and Bernie didn't believe in a file cabinet. File cabinet? What the hell we need one of them for? We got a cigar box. And every time, this is how it worked. When say, like, if my grandfather smoked the last cigar, he would have to go buy the new box of cigars. And it always seemed to work out that every other time, Bernie ended up smoking the last cigar, so Bernie would go buy a box. And there were two different brands. Oh, I can't remember what the hell. Bernie smoked one type of cigar, and my grandfather smoked a different brand cigar, but I think my grandfather smoked Dutch Masters. And I can't remember what Bernie liked. So upstairs in the back room, Dutch Masters and White Owl. Oh, God, it was ridiculous. But it worked for them. It worked for them. The good old cigar box filing system. And then when my grandfather passed, oh my God, Bernie cried like a baby. Matter of fact, he offered to pay half the funeral cost. My grandmother was like, no, he had funeral insurance. And Bernie took her to the bank and laid out all the paperwork and said, this is our net, this is our I don't know, I'll say $50,000. And he said, I want to buy Joe's half of the business off of you. And my grandmother was like, no, you don't have to buy it. You guys, no. And had a bank check made out, gave it to her. And he told her, anytime you need something, call me. If a pipe breaks, just call me. But Bernie, I'll tell you what, he was never the same after my grandfather died. Those two, I don't know how they met. I never got the story on how they met. I think at the market, because my grandfather just about lived over there. Matter of fact, if Bernie needed him, he would call the market office and they'd page him. Joe, go over to the hardware store. Bernie needs you. And my grandfather'd be, okay. And the guy that owned the hardware store was retiring. And he offered to my grandfather, I don't know, it was a ridiculous amount. I mean, ridiculous on the good side. And my grandfather said to Bernie, hey, hardware stores are going to be for sale. You want to be my partner? We'll go 50-50. Bernie was like, hell yeah, let's do it. The two of them, they were like brothers. And, oh my God, the two of them used to rag on one another. It was hilarious. But what a pair. What a pair. I'd come in the store and Bernie had slipped me a quarter, Don't tell your grandfather. And it was amazing because I'd walk in the back of the store and my grandfather would say, Bernie gave me a quarter, didn't he? Yeah, I saw him. Don't worry about it. Bernie was always, don't tell your grandfather. Here's a quarter. Shit like that don't exist today. People are not in business like that today. All they're worried about is the almighty dollar. I doubt if there are any partnerships like that today. it was just the two of them were like you would think that they were brothers in a different lifetime. The funny thing was that Bernie and my grandfather got into a heated discussion. They never really had a big argument. Bernie had make some comments in Yiddish, and my grandfather had to find another Jewish guy to find. What did he say here? Joe, why don't you just learn Yiddish and get it over with? But they were a pair. Rag on each other. And Bernie knew my grandfather loved to be over at the market. So he'd tell him, man, go on, Joe. Hey, I got the store. Go on. Didn't have to tell my grandfather twice. Put on his fedora. Okay, you know where to find me. He'd walk in the front to the smoke shop, mooch a free cup of coffee. Then he'd walk around the market with his coffee and his cigar. Everybody, hey, Joe, how are you? Hey, Joe, hey, Joe. Hey, Joe, I got a bad outlet over here. Let me look at it. Okay, I'll be right back. And go over to the hardware store. Bernie, you fixing something for the city for free again? It's not for the city. It keep that guy in business. He'd go back across the street, fix the outlet. My grandfather would be walking. Joe, I broke the cord on my slicer. Well, let me look at it. All right, hold on. I'll be right back. Go across the street. Again? Boy, hey. Well, it's only a plug. Don't worry about it. Put a new plug on the end and never take a dime. Joe, how much should I? No, don't insult me. Don't insult me. That's why they call him mayor of the market. That's why as soon as I was old enough to go to the market, oh boy, did I get spoiled. I made up for all them free repairs, especially the guy at the smoky stand. Here, have some smokies. You got enough? If you run out, come back. I'll give you more. I'd be walking past the stand. Hey, you need more smokies? You think I was going to say no? Here's some more. Don't tell your grandfather. Well, it's a little hard. I got these smokies sticking out every fucking pocket. What do you mean don't tell your grandfather? He's going to know where I got them from. And he's going to know I got them for free. Goddamn smokies in every pocket, in my pants. Surprised I didn't have smokies stuffed up my ass. Yeah, Bernie, unfortunately, was the working partner. But when it come the end of the week, payday, 50-50, here's your pay, here's my pay. And I mean, down to the penny. Bernie was the bookkeeper, too. And if it came out to, let's say, $75.02, Bernie would have his $75.02 sitting on the counter, and my grandfather's $75.02. And there it is, Joe. Here, you want to see here's the paper. No, I trust you. You ain't cheating nobody. I can imagine the poor sap that bought that hardware store when Bernie sold it. He'd go upstairs, there 50,000 cigar boxes. The hell is all this shit up here? Unbelievable. And the hardware store's still there. It's still there. One of these days, I got to stop in there and see, first of all, how friendly the new owner is. And then tell them, pull up a chair, buddy. I got a story to tell you. Then, my grandfather never got pissed off. Except once. I'll tell you the story about Old Man Borling. Old Man Borling. Yeah, it's still there, Kathy. Right kitty corner from the market. West 25th Street Hardware. So, there was this old, everybody thought it poor, down on his luck. He would rummage around behind the stands at the market with the vegetables that they'd be like, oh, we can't sell this, and they throw it in the bin. So Old Man Borling would be picking from the bins, and then all of the, like, orange crates, any item that came in a crate, he would take home. That was his furniture. Crates. Matter of fact, he had them stacked up, and he had an old mattress on the stack of crates. So it was winter, and his shoes had holes in them. My grandfather was like, hey, what's with the shoes? So my grandfather would take him over to the shoe store, buy him a new pair of shoes, couple pair of socks. Then one day, he had an abscess or something on his arm. Oh, don't worry about it, Joe. My grandfather would take him up to fucking hospital, pay the bill to get it taken care of, pay for the medication. This went on for several years. And then finally, Old Man Borling died. This was like, I want to say 65, about 1965. My grandpa reads a newspaper article one day. So-and-so, George Borling or whatever his name, leaves a estate of $700,000. I'll tell you what, that's the first time I ever saw smoke come out of my grandfather's ears. Living like a fucking pauper in an old rundown house, and had an estate back in 1965 of $700,000. And the problem was, he had no heirs. So the goddamn estate, gets sucked up by the state of Ohio. Unclaimed funds, Because after so long, if you don't claim the funds, the state keeps them. Here my grandfather said, I'm buying this guy's shoes and socks and pants and taking him to the doctor. And the goddamn guy got money up the ass. Because I was in the hardware store that day. It was during summer vacation. Then my grandfather says, hey, I'm going to go get a newspaper and a couple of cups of coffee. So he come back with a couple of cups of coffee and the newspaper, and he was sitting at the cash register. He said, Bernie, come here. And Bernie was like, can I do something? Look at this. Goddamn old bum. Look at this. $700,000. A fucking bum. First time I ever heard my grandfather swear. First time Bernie ever heard him swear. Bernie was like, oh, Joe, calm down. You're going to have a heart attack. Goddamn bum. I'm paying all this shit for him, fixing his house. He's living on milk crates and orange crates. Look at this, $700,000. Although it did not change my grandfather's generosity. That pissed him off, but it didn't change him. Matter of fact, that day I think he fixed 2 meat slicers and I can't remember what else over at the market. Hang on, somebody ringing my doorbell. My dumbass kid fell against the doorbell coming in the door. He's got 2 big fucking pizza boxes. And whatever, couple of bags on top of the boxes. You think I'll even get a piece of crust? You didn't see that. Oh, that stuff is sour. God damn it. Ooh. Oh, man, does that put a fucking pucker? Well, yeah, I pay all the bills, you know, put a roof over his head. He lounges around 24/7 up there. Evidently, he's got a friend over or something, and they're having a party. Yeah, it's pizza. I can smell it. Ugh. That's all right. I'd rather have beet soup. Going to learn a tough lesson when the Grim Reaper says, come on with me. And I tell the Grim Reaper, I'm ready. I'll follow you. What do you mean walk in front of you? Not with that big thing you're carrying around. That's the what? Gen Zer or what are they? The 40-year-olds, what are they? Gen Z, something like that. That's the generation. My buddy's, how old's his daughter? I think she's 39. Same thing. Living home. Back in her old bedroom. At least she has a job. Broke up with the guy she was with for like 20 years. No kids, thank God. come begging, can I come home and live? But it's not like on payday she walk in the door and say, gee, Mom, Dad, here's $100, I'm using the electricity and your heat. No. Although, like I told him, if she's offering you money, take it, you asshole. Well, she doesn't offer it. I said, I'd lay down the law. Hey, you're working. The house doesn't run for free. Light went out. I thought it was a little dark on that side of the map. Yeah, she don't offer, and why he doesn't ask, I don't know. He says it'll create hard feelings. Well, gee, what if you had rented her bedroom out? And she was like, can I come home to live? Sorry, I got a tenant paying rent every month. But that's a generation. I'll tell you what, I got a couple of friends that are same thing. The kids just return home. Like the lost eagles. Oh, there's the nest. What do you mean you're sitting on an egg, Mom? Hey, move over. Give me a little nest room here. I hope soon Jackie lays another egg, because otherwise, when the first egg hatches, there'll be sibling rivalry, and then that one will be really bulked up, and they'll end up throwing the other one out of the nest, Unfortunately, that's the way they... I don't know about eagles. I know with some other birds it's that way. The oldest one always throws the youngest one overboard. I can't remember. I saw it on National Geographic. But see, with eagles, the nest is never never untended. If Mom decides she wants to go get a fish, Dad will come on sitting on the eggs, because it was cute. I watched the replay. Jackie laid the egg. And Shadow, he usually perches somewhat above her. And when she got up to look at the egg, down he come and went, whoa, we got an egg. And he kind of nudged it, and she kind of nudged it, and then he went back up on his limb. It's cute to watch them. I watched this pair of eagles from when she laid the eggs up until when the two fledglings fledged. As a matter of fact, I can't remember. I think it was Gizmo. He got his flight lesson by shock. He was hopping around the edge of the nest, flapping his wings, and a gust of wind blew him over. Whoa! Luckily, they caught him on camera. He stopped about 3 trees over. Are you back here again? I threw you out once. You're a pain in the butt. You know who's here again. Leave my wire alone. He's been looking to get in trouble all day long. I tightened up the tension on the hinges because they're spring hinges on the vanity. Because he'll go in there and he'll push the toilet paper aside and he'll lay inside the vanity. So I tightened up the hinges and I'll hear him and the door go clank, clank, clank. And then he knows when I get up because, boy, he makes a bolt out of the bathroom. And then he goes out in the kitchen, opens all the cupboard doors. He left. He got the hint. Yeah, there's mornings I'll go out in the kitchen and every frickin' cupboard door will be wide open. There's something about him and opening doors. Matter of fact, when I shut my bedroom door and I don't latch it, I just push it. And he goes in and out, several times during the night. And I love to watch him because he kind of hooks his foot under the bottom of the door. And he pulls it back. He gets it back just so much to get his nose in between the door and the doorpost, and then he pushes the door open. Now my nose is starting to run. God damn it. Well, like they say, if your nose runs and your feet smell, you're built ass backwards. That was one of my grandfathers. He was always good for a saying. Yeah, if your nose runs and your feet smell, you're built ass backwards. I'll never forget the first time he said that. My grandmother's like, Joe, don't say such things in front of him. He'll be repeating them. What did I say? You said ass. He didn't hear it. Couldn't wait to get home, see all my buddies. And then they'd be like, oh, you said ass. Where did you learn that? My grandpa. Oh, then it was like approved. But I didn't say it in front of my parents. Holy shit. I'd have still been tasting the ivory soap. I had that done once. Never again. Kids nowadays, wash your mouth out with soap. Yeah, they did back in the day. Oh, a breach, huh? Oh, man. You put your mother through hell. That's one of the scary births when you come out breech. I know years ago, and I'm talking it had to be like the 40s, the 50s. Some doctors would try to push you back in and turn you around, Like, that ain't going to work. Yeah, because when you're breech, they always got to worry about the Unitarian cord getting wrapped around your neck. That's always the big scary part because I don't know. I don't. All I know is they worry about the extension cord getting wrapped around your neck. When my cousin was born, he was breech, and God, they must have had 50 doctors in that goddamn delivery room. Because nowadays, I think if that happens, they call a code right away, and then every obstetric person in the hospital runs in the delivery room. Fun, fun, fun. Well, not for the mother, but although you don't hear that much. Well, with all this frickin' what the hell are they monograms? They keep constant watch, and not like back in the 50s. They didn't have none of this, no monograms, no sex coming out parties. I you know, I think the younger generation tends to get greedy because they'll have a baby shower, then they'll have a sex announcement party, and they get more gifts. I'm like, Jesus Christ, when are you going to stop and maybe buy something for yourself? Buy your own shit. Oh, the technology's unbelievable nowadays. Now they give you like a DVD to take home. My buddy was telling me when his granddaughter had hers when she was pregnant. She come home with a frickin' DVD and the kids' feet moving and legs kicking and something that parents would show at a graduation party. Here, we're going to put this DVD. No, please. As a matter of fact, she had taken one of the goddamn pictures and had it made into a pendant. See, here's the baby. Wait a minute, let me get a magnifying glass. I mean, all the shit they have nowadays. Of course, it does prevent a lot of problems because back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, a lot of kids never made it. So I kind of praise the advancement in medicine. Very rarely do you hear about a stillborn, back in olden days. It happened a lot. Matter of fact, it's amazing the Egyptian population ever grew because there were so many documented stillbirths back in Egypt. Well, it wasn't like they had an ambulance and a hospital. Quick, jump on that chariot and go to see Pythagoras over there. He's the village doctor. Now, wait a minute. Is he Pharaoh approved? Yeah. You think with them two big fucking pizzas, you think like when I walk out to make dinner, there'd be a slice in the microwave waiting for me. But God forbid I get a pizza and I don't eat it all. In the morning, it's gone. I'll look in the drawer. Gee, I had 3 pieces wrapped in saran wrap. I guess Boots ate them. And never say a word. That's all right. His day'll come. Yeah, because we were brought up that way, Kathy. You showed appreciation to your parents for raising you. I mean, take a look at, like the Japanese. They have kids. Kids get married. Kids have kids. Grandma and Grandpa babysit daily. But Grandma and Grandpa are also living in the same house. So that if Grandma and Grandpa kind of have, old age set in, then the kids take care of Grandma and Grandpa. You see that a lot in, Vietnam. I remember when I had those neighbors that were here from Nepal. Mom and Dad went to work at the store they owned, and Grandma and Grandpa took care of the kids. Although I'll tell you what, I don't know where they moved in Parma. It was kind of the upscale part of Parma. Boy, them neighbors were in for a shock when they looked out and Grandpa was in his Nepalese dress trimming his toenails on the front porch. I'm sure they were the talk of the neighborhood. Like, oh, God, look what moved in. Yeah, he'd sit out in the morning, trimming his toenails. Even though they had lawn furniture in the backyard, Grandpa had to sit on the front porch. Looked like he just stepped out of a Nepalese hut. Both Grandma and Grandpa refused to wear anything American. Now the kids, blue jeans, t-shirts, you know. Grandkids, blue jeans, t-shirts. Grandma and Grandpa look like they just stepped out of a tent from Nepal, climbed off a llama. And Grandpa spoke no English. Grandma understood maybe a dozen words. It was hard talking to her. Then I don't know what the hell they grew. They were these green leafy plants in the backyard. And then they would pick the leaves, and Grandma would spread out a sheet or something on the front lawn, and they would dry these. And then when they were fully dried, they put them in a jar, and I don't know what they put in with them. I never bothered to ask, but they had jars of these green leaves. They almost looked like basil leaves, but it wasn't basil. But when they dried them, they'd pack them in the jars, and I don't know what kind of brine they poured in. And they put a lid on it, and they'd leave them sit in the sun for several days. And whatever that shit was, I don't know. All I remember was the nasty barbecue they had one day. I thought they were cremating a body. Oh, it stunk. I walked in the backyard and I looked over the fence. And the son, you want taste? I don't know, what is it? A goat. I'm full, thank you. They were eating a fucking goat head. I'm glad the day they moved. Fermented greens. Well, they were greens, all right. But I mean, how many jars of fermented greens does one need? It was like jar after jar after jar. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have minded if maybe they had buried a kimchi pot or two. You know, I like kimchi, but that stuff didn't look appetizing at all. But the whole backyard was whatever these greens were. And then when the leaves got a certain size, Grandpa'd go back there and pick them. And then they dried them. And then they put them in these jars and put some kind of brine in with them. Oh, really? You mean that's what that shit is in lentil soup when I get it? That's what that broken up green stuff is? Wow. Boots, I'm going to kick your ass. Pain in the ass. Now I'm tangled up in my cord here. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, when I love Progresso lentil soup, and I always wondered what that green stuff was. It's not a full leaf, it's like broken up and crushed. I guess maybe I should read the back of the can next time I buy a can, huh? Oh, Kathy, he's been like that since Wednesday. But usually when I throw him out, he stays out. Hey, in and out, in and out, in and out. And then, during the night when he goes out I know what he does. He goes out in the kitchen and nibbles a little bit. And then he must like jump against the door. And then he comes bounding in the bed because the door goes all the way. I had to put a protector on the doorknob so it wouldn't damage the fucking wall. You would think, okay, walk down to the end of the bed, climb up, leave the old guy sleep. No. Oh my God. I have to drink 4 bottles of this shit. That's what it said in the notes when I looked at my chart. 4 bottles. I get up the cash register and the girl went, "Oh, you drink that stuff?" I said, "Not willingly. Doctor's orders." Oh, it's nasty. But evidently it must sell. As a matter of fact, it shocked me that Mark's had it. I didn't feel like going to Gigantic Eaglet. So I called Mark's, and they said, "Well, we don't have Ocean Spray. We got this generic brand, but it's unsweetened cranberry juice." Okay, I'll be up for some. And sure enough, and then it is amazing. They mix cranberry juice with everything: apple, strawberry, raspberry, pomegranate. There was cranberry juice lemonade. Yeah, everything under the sun. Apples, berries, grapes. I'm looking like, Jesus Christ. Where is the... Oh, it's on the top shelf, no wonder. There. Now you just ruined it for my lentil soup. Nah, I like lentil soup too much. And I think Progresso makes the best. I've tried some other brands. When I get a taste for lentil soup, I get me 2-3 cans of Progresso. Good stuff. my grandfather got me started on, well, my grandmother made lentil soup. I can remember eating it. My friends would come over and go, "Oh, what are you eating?" It's lentil soup. And they're like, "Well, what's a lentil?" Go to the store, go in the bean section, and you'll see dried lentils. I mean, to tell you the truth, Kathy, Progresso is really close to what I remember my grandmother's tasted like. Now, hers was a little thicker. Progresso is more on the soup. My grandmother, I don't know, it what, how do I describe it? Her lentil soup was like a ham and bean soup. You know, you get that thicker consistency. Because my grandmother, you know, she'd save the old ham bone and had that big pot. She'd soak and wash the beans and put them in the pot. My grandmother's lentil soup was like split pea with ham. You know, that soup's a little on the thicker side. Progresso is a little thinner, but it tastes like hers. And I still eat it to this day. Grandma's proud of me. Because she'd always send me home with she didn't like Tupperware containers, so she'd send me home with a bowl, and then it would have wax paper over it and about 30 rubber bands. Don't spill this. Oh, so do I. When I make split pea with ham, it's got to have carrots. Got to have carrots, adds a little sweetness. That's the way my grandmother would make it. She put the ham bone in and the split peas and add the carrots at a certain time. She'd never put the carrots in at the same time. But always. I'll never forget the one time she made it. When she went to market, she forgot to get carrots. She laid a lot of bowl, and my grandfather, he went, "Mary, ain't no carrots in here." What'd you make it for if you didn't have carrots? I forgot to get carrots. How could you forget to get carrots? It's a simple recipe. A ham bone, split peas, carrots, water, a little spice. Not a hard recipe, Mary. Okay, Joe, next time, don't worry, I'm going to put the carrots in. But he didn't piss her off because, you know, like I said, she always had the checkbook. You want that new car, Joe? Yeah. Lay off the carrots. Okay. I keep saying I'm going to do the car buying routine. I'll have to do it this week. My sister keeps reminding me, when you going to do the car buying story? Oh, okay. I didn't know she watched. She tunes in at bedtime. She watches the replay. Okay, I'm not talking about you anymore. Cool it. Shit, oh, I'll be hearing about it. Quit talking about me on your show. My grandfather wasn't that picky. But boy, I'll tell you what, if she forgot to put something in a soup or a paprikash or something, boy, he noticed it right away. Eating a chicken paprikash going, hey, Mary, you were a little skimpy on the sour cream here. All right, Joe, here. It's bad for your heart. Oh, that woman could make paprikash. Oh, my God. Her paprikash was to die for. Oh, my God. And the spetzels. Oh. God, I miss her cooking. My mother burned boiling water. Oh, she. You know, I've said this before, and then we'll wrap it up. My grandmother, the way her cooking was, the woman could have opened a restaurant. I mean, that's how great her cooking was. And for my father to marry someone that couldn't pour piss out of a boot if the directions were on the heel. Oh, she. Oh. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Oh, gee, those not fond memories. Oh, tablet, give me a hard time. I think we're going to wrap it up here. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Another fun night of Grumpy going off the deep end. I am feeling a little better. I did take an antibiotic as soon as it got here, so hopefully Wednesday I'll start feeling back to normal, whatever normal is for me. All right. Everybody take care. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again here tomorrow night. You know, right here. Home of not one but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And with that, there'll be 2 Cias, you know. The new update from OBS. I don't understand it. So, see you number 1 and see you number 2. Come on.